Oh, sorry about that. I got the lurgy today. But don't worry about that, because in this chinwag, I'm going to give you 5 very British expressions that even the most ardent grammar Anorak probably doesn't know. So stay tuned if you want to be quids in. And let's hope I can get to the end of this without flogging my arse off. Hey up, Mr. Josh here. Did you enjoy that intro? Yeah, good, wasn't it? I enjoyed it, although saying that, I don't think my nose is ever going to be the same again. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 very British expressions that, in the regular course of events, you won't get taught in any kind of school, apart from with me, or any of the other very strange English teachers here on YouTube. So let's get in it. So the first one is Lurgy, which is what I said at the very beginning, that I've got the Lurgy. So basically the Lurgy is like having a cold or flu or something like that. But if someone has the Lurgy, whatever that Lurgy happens to be, trust me, you don't want to have it. In fact, when I used to be in school, we wouldn't even touch each other's books if someone had the Lurgy. Chinwag. So chinwag is basically like saying gossip. So imagine you and me are friends. Work with me on this. I know it sounds impossible, but just try. But say we're friends and we haven't spoken in a long time, and maybe I'd phone you and say, you got time for a chinwag? We haven't seen each other in ages. Basically like a gossip, a chat, whatever. Usually to do with catching up. Anorak. So anorak is, literally speaking, a coat that you used to be able to get years ago, and you still can get them these days. But certainly in the 70s and 80s when I grew up, they had a particular style and a particular look. But an anorak these days would be called a geek or a nerd or something similar to that. It's that very boring type of person that seems to know far too much about one particular subject. So I could say I'm a real anorak when it comes to Land Rovers, for example, because I do know far too much about, well, say I do know, I used to know far too much about Land Rovers. Well, since I left England, I'm too poor to own a Land Rover, so that's gone out the window. If you've got any spare money lying around, send it my way. In fact, if you haven't got any money, just hit the like button, make me feel better about myself. And if you haven't subscribed, why? Come on, subscribe, it's not difficult. I know from my analytics that more than half of you that watch these videos don't subscribe. Why am I doing this? So next up, quids in. Now, a quid is a pound, as in the currency of England. Most people in England don't say pounds, they say quid. So something is 10 quid, 5 quid, 20 quid, whatever. Unless you've got a silver spoon stuck in your mouth, you don't worry about saying pounds, we say quid. If your quid's in, then basically it's like saying it's a good investment. There used to be a TV program years ago called Minder, and there was a shady character in that called Arthur Daly, who was always trying to make money by screwing other people over. And he would say things like, stand on me, you'll be quids in, meaning trust me, it's a good investment. And lastly, we have flog. To flog something is basically to sell something. Generally speaking, you're selling something cheaply. So I might want to flog this phone because today I'm getting a new one. At least I hope so if the delivery service arrives. But I might want to sell this off cheap. I'm flogging it. So I might sell it for like 10 euros or something like that. Any takers? It's a cheap piece of rubbish that I bought in Thailand and it hasn't worked properly from day one, even though it says Samsung on the front of it. But if I was to say that I'm flogging my arse off, then that basically means I am working really hard. For example, I could say that today I'm going to be flogging my arse off all day, making videos and making new lesson plans for my students. Which actually will be. I'm going to be sat here for probably 12 hours today. The joys of being an English teacher. Anyhow, I hope you understood some of that and you now know 5 new British expressions that you can use when you go to America just to confuse the Yanks. Because it doesn't take much to confuse them. Anything English will confuse them. I'm going to go, so don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on Thursday. Ciao for now.